Hello everyone, so today's video is a tag video. I was tagged by Scott from the channel The Scenturion. If you don't already, go over and check him out. He come up with this tag and it is a floral fragrances men can wear. I've changed the title slightly to be a bit more provocative and I've changed it to 10 floral fragrances men should wear. Of course, I'm not telling you what to do, but if you are open to trying different fragrances and you don't want to be hemmed in and you want to just wear what you want to wear without worrying about anything, then carry on watching because I've got 10 amazing fragrances. They are all florals in sort of the main notes or the heart notes maybe. They all have quite a reasonable floral element to them, but I feel like they also are quite grounded and quite they have surrounding notes that you might, if you are a man used to traditional men's marketed fragrances, they might not be a leap too far because they have grounding notes like vetiver woods, for example. So let's get on with it. We'll start with, I've got two from the same brand here, so we'll start with a tuberose fragrance. Tuberose is quite a heady white floral. It's the main note in Robert Piguet's Fracas, and it's also the main note in Carnal Flower by Frederic Malle. It's a very bombastic, loud floral, so it's not for everyone. So this is Los Angeles, but the tuberose in here is not too much. So I don't actually enjoy the really big heavy tuberose fragrances, but I enjoy this. And this is a fun fragrance because it has a candy floss note in here, which is similar to what you find in Baccarat Rouge 540, but this is not the same type and it's not a dupe or anything like that. It doesn't have as strong a burnt sugar note as that does. This has some groundedness because it's got Gaiac wood, which is a slightly smoky, almost rubbery type woody note. And I'm trying to think what else is in here. It's got a freshness, it's fresh and it's vibrant. The tuberose is punchy, but it's not thick and heavy. So this is a fun and kind of light fragrance that you might choose on warmer days. From the same house then, I've picked Bukhara. This is my favourite fragrance from Gallivant. This one I absolutely love. Main notes in here are the iris and the jasmine, but you also have musks, you've got some spices, it's a little bit earthy. It smells, when you first spray it, it smells exactly like silk. And then it mildly changes. You'll notice a little bit of the jasmine, you'll definitely notice musks, powder. You just have this really amazing aura about you without really smelling like you're necessarily wearing perfume, but it does have a really good presence. I really love that as an iris and jasmine fragrance. This is Portrait of a Lady, Frederic Malle. It's a rose fragrance, but it's a bombastic fragrance. It's dry, it's woody, incensey, spicy. There's some vanilla in here which just sweetens it up a little bit. And it has this almost like petrichor kind of feel to it. Rain on concrete. Big, big, loud fragrance. I think there might even be a little bit of cumin in here, but it's not too much. But it is quite dry, it's very dry. The rose note is big, it's very big on the rose. I think it's probably rose and geranium because it's very much a rose fragrance, but all the other notes are not minor players. You really notice the earthiness, it's quite a lot of patchouli in here. And you'll notice it, but you do get that sweetness that comes through from the vanilla. It's a beast, it's very loud, and it's very long lasting. So that is very much a statement fragrance. So for something a little less in your face, I've got Venetian Bergamot here. And this is a gardenia and ylang ylang fragrance, believe it or not. obviously there's bergamot, so it has a freshness. It's kind of like I always imagine an iced drink, green in colour, very fresh, very reviving, the sort of thing you want to drink on a really hot day. It's a very cooling fragrance. The bergamot is there, but really the florals are there immediately as well. Gardenia and ylang ylang are very tropical kind of scents. Ylang ylang is yellow florals, and gardenia is a white floral, not dissimilar to frangipani, jasmine. It's in that ballpark. It's a little, I would say it's a little fruitier, a little fleshier maybe. Sometimes I can mix up gardenia and tuberose, so that might give you an idea of where the flower is. But this has some grounding notes. It's got woodsy notes in here, and it's also got some sweeter notes. It's got some tonka, and it's just a really well-rounded fragrance, despite really retaining this freshness from start to finish. It lasts really well. I'll get a full working day out of that. It's pretty amazing for a fresh kind of tropical-ish fragrance. So that's Venetian Bergamot. We'll stay in the tropical realms. This is absolutely beautiful. It's Giovanna Antonelli's 611 Intenso, and this is a tuberose fragrance again. I think it's tuberose and I believe it's jasmine, but there's two white florals at play in here. This is a beachy kind of scent. It brings to mind white floral. Imagine you're at the beach at night and you've got night blooming white flowers really punch in the air with their gorgeousness, but you've also got, you're maybe not been home yet, your skin's warm from the sun, and you've got suntan lotion on, and you can smell the sand as well. This is a absolutely beautiful beachy style fragrance, but this is classy. This is really classy. It doesn't smell like a cheap coconutty type scent. It's really, really classy, and there's some sweetness in here. I think there's probably some vanilla. I think there's benzoin and resins at the base as well. So it's got some depth and it's really, really beautiful. I'm gonna go for another rose now. And this is Elie Saab's Rose Essence number 1. This is a like an ambery rose. It's really only got notes of rose, various different roses. I can't be bothered to look them up, but it's definitely got more going on than just rose. It is not a fresh, pretty rose. It's not the rose of pot puree or the rose of hand creams in your grandmother's house. It's a dark, rich rose, and it feels to me like it's got labdanum or some sort of ambery type base underneath. It's not a big projector. It's fairly close to the skin, but you catch it when you move around. You catch it with the sillage more than the projection, and it lasts really well on the skin. It certainly does for me anyway. But it's definitely a dark rose, and it's probably, you'd say it's a touch on the jammy side, almost a little bit like it's got red fruit in it, but doesn't actually smell like red fruit. It doesn't smell like strawberries or raspberries. It just has a fruity-ish feel to it, but it's dark. It's kind of a bit gothic, I guess. It is discontinued. It can still be found, but you just have to have a bit of patience and search around a little bit. Next up, we've got Iris and Mimosa in here as the main florals. It's called Angelique, and it's by Papillon Artisan Perfumes. So this one actually comes off a little bit green. It's green and it's fresh. It's a little tiny bit woody. The florals are kind of like floating in the air. They're not heavy, they're not heady, they're not sticky. There's nothing really sweet here. The florals themselves have sweetness, but there's no added, it doesn't feel to me like there's any added sweetness. The iris gives it a little bit of a dusty, dusty kind of texture, but there's a green, fresh feel to this as well. Probably if you were marketing all of these fragrances as designer fragrances, this would be the one that could potentially go in a men's bottle, but really it's completely in the middle. But this, what I'm trying to say, I guess, is if you are a little nervous of florals, this might be one to give a go to first, because it's not super pretty girly floral at all. This is a gorgeous Bat. This is the 2020 version of Bat. I much prefer this to the original. This is Zoologist. It has a really lovely jasmine note in here. It is absolutely divine, but there's a soil tincture note in here. So it's got this earthiness, and it's got some tropical fruits like guava. I'm not sure if it's mango, but it's got some sort of tropical fruits, and you do get this fruity feel. You get this lovely rich jasmine, this earthiness, and then lots of other deeper notes like incense and goodness knows what else. It's very dark and rich, but not too heavy still, because it's got this lightness with the jasmine. It's really nice. I think if you're afraid of florals, this is quite a good one to start with as well. Although it's not going to be for everyone, because it does have this earthy note that I guess is kind of unusual, but it's very well balanced. Florals to the more kind of darker, more, I guess, more masculine type notes. The balance is perfect. This is Tiger by Francesca Bianchi. And this is honeyed florals. They are white florals. They are not stated what they are exactly, although I understand there is a little bit of tuberose in here. It smells to me like there's perhaps a combination of tuberose, jasmine, and maybe something like a frangipani or a gardenia, something like that. But they're light, they're not too punching you in the face like a bouquet of flowers. They are, again, they're light and airy, but there's this gorgeous sweetness here. This is quite a sweet fragrance. I would say to me it's a vanilla fragrance, even though vanilla's not a listed note. I think amber is, and vanilla's always in an amber accord. To me, this is a rich sort of iris, resin, amber, sweet fragrance with these gorgeous florals on the top. It's got depth, it's got real depth, and I absolutely love it. It's Tiger. Wow. Finally then, this is just a sample, sorry about that, but I felt like I needed to cover violet, and we can do that with this one here. Now, I have other violet fragrances that I love to wear, but not all men are going to be comfortable. I mean, so one that I love is Violet in Love by Nikolai, but that might be a little too fruity floral for some chaps to be comfortable with, and the name might put them off as well. So I wanted to pick something that's going to be a little more acceptable to the gentlemen that perhaps haven't really entertained this idea before. If you're just tiptoeing into the realm of floral fragrances, and I'm trying to keep them a little easier for you to handle. So this is Violet Shot. It's by Olfactive Studios. It's their sepia range of fragrances. Came out, officially was launched 2019. However, you couldn't get these anywhere. And it was only in September last year that Joe Voy started to carry them here in the UK. And I was then able to get samples of all three of the floral shots, the iris, the rose, and this one, the violet. Iris is actually my favourite, but I feel like we've covered iris. Plus, iris to me is not specifically floral because the scent doesn't come from the flowers, it comes from the root. So it's not really a floral in my mind. That's just how I feel. But of course, iris is a flower, so whatever. But I chose Violet Shot because this one probably leans a little more masculine than perhaps the other two. Although the iris doesn't fall anyway either. So, okay, let's start again. I really love the iris, and I totally advise you to check it out if you can. It's a slightly gourmand take on iris. It has some almond, it's very musky, has lots of development. It's really stunning. If you like musky, powdery irisy type scent, just try Iris Shot. It's amazing. It's on my buy list. However, I picked this because I wanted to do a violet fragrance, and this is a really good violet fragrance. There's violet leaf in here, but you can totally smell the violet flower, which will mean that the aroma chemical that causes that is going to be in there, I think. So it's not just the green violet leaf smell, but a combination of that with more of a Parma violet type scent. Let's spray some. Here we go. So it's kind of got a freshness. It's violet. It's green. It's violetty and fresh. It has a little bit of vanilla in here, so it gives it a little bit of sweetness. I don't recall the other notes, but it does kind of lean a touch on the gourmand side. But it's not got too much sweetness, if that bothers you. The vanilla is really kept down to a minimal in here. It's more about, I'd say the violet leaf is probably the main note here. If you like violet, the violet leaf in Fahrenheit for men, it's that violet note, the greeny violet scent. But that's the main character of this fragrance. It's pretty amazing. It's an extract parfum, very long lasting. So that one's Violet Shot from Olfactive Studios. That's my 10 floral fragrances you should try. So who can I tag? I want to tag, I'd love to see Chris from Fragmental do this one, because he is well respected. He has a large male audience, so it'd be really good for him to encourage his audience to step out of their comfort zone and try some floral fragrances. I would also love to see Clémence CC do it, because I just love her and I'd love to see what she picks. And also a Monica Choc, because Monica really does specialise in talking about men's fragrances. And again, she speaks to a large male audience, so I think it would be fantastic if she would do this one as well. So I hope you will all do the tag, guys. That's it from me. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in another video.